Hello and welcome to another edition of Never a Straight Answer, a podcast that aims to cover a wide range of topics, from some serious and some not so serious, from conspiracies to popular culture and news. Welcome to the show. I'm Gaz.
I'm Taylor.
And we're just second episode. Just thought we've had some pretty good feedback and we've had quite a lot of people asking when the next episode's coming out. So
we've rushed this one.
Well, I say we rushed it. Well, we've got it out pretty quick.
Yeah.
But I think we're aiming to get a couple out, and a week potentially. We've got one a week, and then maybe some little extra bits depending on how we're getting on. So how's everything going, Taylor? Anything happening in the world today, this week?
Well, yeah, there's been quite a bit of news actually. Have you heard about this Max Spears?
Max Spears?
Yeah,
I actually have heard a bit about this, but I mean, I'll be quite honest with you. I mean, I like the kind of, I do follow all this kind of like whistleblowy stuff when I can, but like, I've kind of like let this one go by me, so are you going to give us the heads up?
Well, basically, he was going to Poland 2006. So, he found some stuff on UFOs and he was doing like, talk to people. And so, he ended up going over there on a trip and slept on his friend's couch.
Right, okay.
So, the next thing is the woman whose couch it is wakes up one morning, goes into the room, and he's there, dead.
Ah, yeah, I do remember this. Wasn't it? There was some sort of liquid in it in his mouth or something like
2
that.
2 litres of black liquid.
You sure we went in Maxwell House?
Well, 2 litres of it. Bleeding hell, he must have loved his coffee.
Well, I'm a coffee fan, but I wouldn't be that excessive.
Well, basically, the results of the investigations have come through today, and it's stating that he died of natural causes,
Really?
which is a bit strange since he's had no autopsy.
Oh, right. So how are they coming up with this natural causes verdict?
Well, they're not actually answering to it. They're only saying that it's natural causes. There's been no autopsies because Kent Police started to want to, start the investigation because now the evidence and now the Polish people are dealt with it.
Right. So it's actually happened in Poland, and then was Max an English patron?
Yeah. He was English, 39-year-old, father of 2. He had his life was going great.
So what was it? What was his connection to? Why was it just because he was a whistleblower, and what was it he knew that?
Well, apparently he stumbled across something. No one actually knows, but he was actually going to put it out.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So typical whistleblower fashion, they were going to basically spill the beans, and somebody's got in there beforehand, and.
Yeah, it is suspicious. It's very suspicious because, this is the most suspicious part. Really, is a couple of days beforehand, he texted his mum, and he texted his mum and stating that if anything was to go towards wrong with him.
We get this quite a lot, don't you? It's like basically if there's all this. In fact, we had this last week with the Heather Mills thing. It's like we've got a box of evidence. If anything happens to me, it's in the hands of somebody who will get it to the authorities or the relevant.
Well, he didn't go as far as that. He'd give the evidence to his mum. He basically told her that if anything had gone wrong there, please investigate it. Because he's obviously stating that he's sound body and mind, everything's okay, I'm doing alright, but because of what I'm holding, just in case, which I suppose, you got to look after yourself, especially a bloke with 2 kids. I'm sure he didn't want to do anything, and it is in all suspicious, all of it.
Yeah,
because
it does. I mean, it's like the guy. If the guy's obviously got family, you don't know what's going on. Especially like it could be paranoia, anything with the guy.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
Don't know. But,
Well, he was supposed to have been all right the night before.
I think what we're getting at here is it's the method he was found, and it's like, what's his plan? Like, was he any
well,
kind
it's
of?
not only just that.
Was there any sort of like tests done on the liquid
well,
itself to
yeah,
try and find out what that was?
We've got no results or anything on that, but Kent Police received a message from the Polish police or the courts, basically stating you can come and pick his phone up and his computer.
I heard this, and they were wiped, weren't
they? Wiped clean.
Totally wiped clean. So,
because the mother asked the police, and the police went, we can investigate it, but it's wiped clean, so I don't know what evidence we can actually pick up on.
Was that the case that they picked it up from this guy? Was it Max's property, and it was already wiped, or was it wiped by the police?
No, there was already stuff on there. The woman whose house he was living in, he was staying at that time, stated that he had all his information on there.
I suppose. Well, if he's anything like me, mate, my life's on my laptop, and it's like mine's out of commission at the moment, and it's killing me. Especially it's like
I need to sort that one out.
We got like a terabyte's worth of photos on there. You know, I need to get that sorted. Yeah. We're talking about kind of like discovering things, like discovering things that you might not supposed to have discovered. This is actually in two-part. Thanks, because like I came across this story in two places. One, it was the Secure Team on YouTube, which
Tyler.
is big up to Tyler. On Secure Team. He's a big fan of his work, and also in the Daily Mail. And basically, this is a story about a treasure hunter who's basically he's started to film for a new show on the Discovery Channel, and it's the show itself is called Cooper's Treasure. I don't know when it's due to air, but
I think it's already aired.
Is it actually
already on? Yeah.
Right, I'm gonna have to check this out because, like I say, it's something I only found out recently about. So, if they've aired it, then it's quite groundbreaking if they're saying what they say it is. So basically, this treasure hunter has claimed he's found evidence of an extraterrestrial ship whilst exploring a shipwreck beneath the Bermuda Triangle.
It's not the first time, is it, really? I mean, look at the Dead Sea, there's supposed to be one down there, there's supposed to be a couple. But
why is nobody going and having a look then?
Well,
I suppose this guy is, isn't he? Because I always thought that. It's like, they find all these kind of aerial photography and scans and stuff, like, deep sea scans, and they see shapes, but they never actually kind of think, well, should we send something down there and have a look? What was that one about, like it was a Millennium Falcon looking ship?
But that was passed on.
Nobody actually went down and had a look.
No, they went down and had a look, but then it was passed on to the military.
In fact, they did have a look, because I remember them standing on it, and he was saying it was like a plate. It wasn't he wasn't sure if it was rock or metal, but without being able to get it up to the surface. And
since it got given to the actual military, it actually went all dead and quiet.
Well, this is quite interesting because the explorer is it Daryl Malco?
Yeah, Malchus. I believe so.
He used maps that were created by NASA astronaut Gordon Cooper, hence the Cooper's Treasure title, in the 1960s to find the shipwrecks. And when he was doing so, when they were kind of having a look using this map, they found a USO, or an unidentified submerged object.
There's quite a lot nowadays then. There's quite a lot of info on them.
If you can find the article, I might try and link a couple of these stories into the podcast so you can have a look yourself. But basically, what he's saying is the way that this structure is under the ocean is really bizarre, because how coral usually grows, it never grows in this sort of formation, and what they're saying is it needs some sort of skeletal structure or some sort of base for the coral to grow on. And the way that this object hangs in the water, it's bizarre. These photos are available if you kind of just Google.
Did they check the coral age?
They've been doing it. I mean, I'm pretty sure that you can go into all that. But if you Google the Cooper's Treasure Discovery Channel, you'll be able to find images and maybe watch the program.
At 500,000 years old, or some stuff like that.
So yeah, there's been a bit of sad news as well, really, hasn't there? In the news this week,
very much so today, I believe.
But yeah, well, if you're a fan of like your blues music and stuff like that, you'll know that Aretha Franklin passed away sadly today. So we're going to give her a bit of a tribute and play a little bit of one of her classics. I always remember her from the Blues Brothers movie.
Oh,
do you know when they go into the restaurant or like the diner and
and
in fact that's what she played. What is it? Think you've been had to think. What you trying to do to me? Yeah, it's quality. So just as a mark of respect, we're gonna blast out a bit of this for you, Aretha.
God bless her.
So yeah, that was Aretha Franklin. A bit of respect from 1967. Just thought we'd put that on for her because she was a great lady and she did a lot for the music scene and
by far.
Yeah, so good on you, girl, and you will be missed.
You will.
So yeah, what have we got? Any other news?
Oh, well,
I've got one more for you, and it's an absolute corker, so I'll get to that, but go on, what have you got to give us today?
Well, mine's only a slight update of Alex Jones's InfoWars. I mean, they're going a bit drastic now. I mean,
where were we up to with this? Because he's been banned off everything, hadn't he?
What was it? Facebook, YouTube,
Instagram, Pornhub. What else?
Well, there was one
Grindr. No, he's been banned off everything. I think on the morning that I kind of heard that on the news, he'd been banned from everything but Twitter. He was still allowed to use Twitter.
It wasn't. It was iTunes started it. iPhone.
Because that's where he housed his podcasts, wasn't it? And his InfoWars shows. So.
Well, 4 of them did it, but now it looks like the FCC in America have decided to actually attack his actual site. So they had like an attack yesterday, which closed it down. So then later on, they decided they're going to attack The Hill, which is his secondary platform. And then he's got another one, a pirate broadcast.
Right.
Which they've hit that as well now. So it looks like, and they've even hit him on Twitter.
Well, the thing is about
him for 7 days.
I think we were talking about this before. It's like, it kind of opens the floodgates, doesn't it? Because it's like once you've got one person who can't express themselves on the internet, or they get closed down off the internet. We've had it on YouTube quite a lot where people are being censored and being demonetized for views and opinions they've got. I mean, at the end of the day, I thought we were able to express ourselves as human beings, but
we're not.
But well, this is it. What they're saying is, well, our people, our advertisers don't want their products associated with certain language or certain views or certain behaviour.
Yeah, but how come they didn't do it beforehand then? I mean, there was a guy who written to YouTube stating that they had racist groups on with adverts in between with like Coca-Cola, some margarine, some pop, whatever. Yeah. And basically, they did nothing. So after that, he actually went to every single company that the advert was in between, and they phoned him and they stopped their money going towards him.
Yeah.
And slowly and surely done that. But this is another step. They've got to control.
This is the beginning of the end of what we consider. It's not even the fact of freedom of speech. It's the fact that the internet's changing and the internet I've seen the internet from being dial-up where it took you 4 hours to get a photo to come up to how it is now, and even stuff like YouTube we take for granted that it's always been there, but in reality it's an infant, it's a baby, and there's gonna be things changing and things that people aren't gonna like, and
it's gonna happen, don't it?
Well, go.
It's going to be pushed into the dark net, and then you're going to bring it where everyone's going to go in there, and then they're going to see all the weird shit that's going on.
Well, that's true actually, because what you're saying there is like basically if it's pushed underground, then it means that the people who want to see it have basically got to go to the dark web, maybe where more vulnerable people could be open to all sorts. You don't know, but basically by stopping and filtering what we can absorb as a culture or as basically human beings, and we kind of want to see kind of multiple angles. We don't want to just see what Fox News or BBC News tell us and take that as granted and take that as the truth. People want to see multiple angles of the news and then make their own minds up. And I think by taking away what you consider or what they consider fake news or kind of alternative news is just a step beyond the pale. I think it's getting to the point.
It's been that way. I mean, I've looked at it for years, and every time I had a piece of like a newspaper, forget the big story. The big story is what they want you to see.
Yeah.
I always had a look at the smaller stories as well.
Yeah,
the smaller stories were more interesting. The
try and kind of hide
those
really important things with something that's just trivial, like who's won X Factor.
And through that, they win. They do whatever they want to. They fuck us over on doing this, and whatever. Like, from bills that actually legally they shouldn't be able to do.
That's true. Well,
it's getting fucking weird.
Well, we're definitely keeping an eye on this one anyway, because it does have quite a lot of implications ethically and kind of
they're after next, aren't they?
Oh, well, us probably. After that's ranted, they're after us.
InfoWars actually stated before he left, because he was stating that there was something going on about WikiLeaks leader.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, there's something about to happen.
The thing about WikiLeaks is you've got to kind of I understand that, these are documents that have been,
Proven documents.
Proven
the
documents.
Only place where
what does it, right, but I mean, in terms of what agenda and stuff, how do we know that information's not been doctored or...
Oh, don't get me wrong, because some information's going to be false.
You know what I mean? Well, yeah, of course.
For like spies and stuff like that.
And then obviously it's like...
it's the same with the net.
Yeah, I'd say... Well, then, anyway, we've got one last story in the news, and this one is a bit freaky, actually. Right, this is a woman called Amethyst Realm.
God bless her.
She's 30 and she's from Bristol, and she claims to only have sex with ghosts.
How's she seen? How she knows she ain't getting in the mouth?
Well, she says basically what she reckons is her husband was working away a lot.
Oh, right.
And she was at home and she started feeling the Holy Spirit. And she started getting off on it, basically. She claims that basically her husband came home and found her cheating with one of the ghost lovers, which ruined her relationship. And then she's basically I'm not even joking. If you think I'm bullshitting, if you want to go to the dailymail.co.uk and or just Google Amethyst Realms, which is a great name, gotta say. She states she's in a very serious relationship with a ghost at the moment. That she met in Australia, and she plans for it to go to be very, very serious in the future. She says she's a spiritual guidance counsellor.
Oh my God,
that is amazing.
Oh my.
So God. I'm not right. If she's a spiritual guidance counsellor, is she spiritually guiding the ghosts, or is she spiritually guiding people who have had experiences?
Or is she psychologically damaged?
I think she's got a bit of a kind of a problem.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm like laughing over here, but there is a serious point of like...
No, she definitely... Is this a cry for help? I think
could be wrong there.
Well, I'm not being...
No one's indicated or...
Well, yeah, basically, we're all taking the funnies on it, but, has anybody kind of sat her down? Has she got no family that are going to sit her down and try and sort her out?
Yeah, it might be just that she's got no... She for a long time she hasn't had I mean, she might have had a partner, but she doesn't necessarily have to speak to them.
I don't know. She seems to get off on it because she claims to have had over as many as 20 different ghostly lovers.
Can we have an interview with one?
Well, this is it, isn't it?
Is he here already? I can't see.
How does she know she's seeing the same ghost?
I bet he's got them glowing in the dark condoms.
Is she like the Sixth Sense kid?
Yeah.
Is she?
Yeah.
She's gonna.
I'm guiding you, mate. I'm guiding you.
I sleep with ghostly people. I sleep with dead people. Yeah.
So how's she planning marriage or out? Is she getting wed?
Well, this is it. She's at the moment. She says when people ask her, is she sexually satisfied? She says she's most definitely satisfied.
Yeah, that's a vibe.
In terms of marriage, she doesn't know if that's a viable option. But at the moment, she's investigating the possibility of having a ghostly baby.
Oh my God. Oh my God. What, is she going to give birth? Where's she going to do it?
I've no idea, mate. This is like, again.
This is a woman that.
I'm not making this up. Like I say, it's I found it on the Daily Mail, and.
But then again, with all the weird shit going on, I wouldn't be surprised if it's fucking true.
Well, again,
with the weird shit that we've seen, we've seen, you know what I mean? We've investigated.
Again, it's do you know what? There's a thing about paranormal and like now.
It's always thrown as a joke.
Now that this is known as a joke, but basically since they've kind of been talking about this many worlds theories and how like you could have many multiple realities and multiple dimensions and multiple sort of like possibilities where maybe it's one impression imprinting on the next. So whereas you see a ghost, it's actually just somebody, or it could be yourself moving around in your space with, on a different plane where she's actually getting off with herself, but on a different plane where this and she potentially the other one is thinking, hey, I'm having a relationship with a ghostly lady. You never know. I don't know anyway.
Has any of the other ghostly girlfriends come along and like had an issue? She had an issue with that?
What, like jealous
Yeah,
exes?
jealous exes. Like, you met my ghost husband. I'm coming for you.
Yeah.
And now you're not married.
To be fair, if that was the case, I mean, she's fine. She happens to stumble across a lot of ghostly bachelors. It's like, have none of these got ex-wives or anything like that?
Marriage sense to go.
She must be. Well, anyway, I think this is getting a bit too bizarre. But I think,
medically and psychologically.
So I've got a bit of a random topic for today's show. To be honest.
Yeah, you are.
What do you reckon to time travel?
Time travel?
It's actually been proven.
Yeah, but it's
theoretically time travel is possible, and everyone's
going
to go on.
Yeah, but that's the word theoretically. I mean, don't get me wrong. There is certain states that we thought we knew there was 11 multiverses, but now since 2015 we know actually now
11
there are multiverses.
How can you have 11 multiverses?
Because the theory worked out that there had to be 11 multiverses. If there wasn't, then certain theories would collapse.
Right.
That's how you can get some of the theories. I don't know about that. Can connect. That's
you meaning like the kind of the fact that you need all of the theories like gravity and all those sorts of theories.
Yeah, well, it goes down to even quantum mechanics.
I know where you're going with
because quantum mechanics works slightly different. I mean, things are
there's been that many different theories about time travel over the years, and loads of people who claim to have been able to do it.
I've been in it, yes, out, yes. I've been I've heard a lot that state that but there's also a lot that states that not so. I suppose like on everything that we're doing tonight and from now on and that, check this information out yourself. Don't just rely on what we're saying. We're just looking at it and telling you.
If you've got a comment about anything we're saying, please feel free to leave a comment. If you're using the Anchor app, you can send us messages through there, or you can send us an email at neverstraightanswer@gmail.com. Also on Twitter at never_answer or answer_never. Check on the page. We just set it up. So back to the time travel. You know what? Who I used to really love was Art Bell on Coast to Coast, because he'd basically he'd have a phone in. He's a legend. Well, he was a legend.
Yeah,
there's another one. God rest his soul.
Yeah.
Well, he used to get. He'd say to online. He'd say, right, if there's any time travelers out there, please feel free to call.
Give us a ring.
Give us a ring.
Yeah.
Tell us about your day.
New mobile old one.
And he'd filter out the weirdos and the people who he knew was totally talking out of their asses.
Yeah, because they're gonna have to learn, some kind of quantum mechanics. Plus
they'd have to have some sort of viable story, really.
Science degree.
But on occasion, you'd get the odd person ringing up.
Yeah.
And they're the most fascinating stories because they were compelling. They basically, every time I heard one of these stories where you knew it wasn't a complete crackpot, and they kind of had an idea about what they were talking about, it made it kind of believable. So
could be a good talker.
Well, he could be.
With?
Well, again, yeah. In a couple of these instances, they've provided a lot of evidence. There's one that I won't go into today, but he's one of my favourite stories. I'll just mention his name. Is John Teeter. Was basically he had evidence. He even supplied blueprints of his time machine. Yeah. And to this day, no one's ever been able to find what that blueprint is if it's not his time machine. At the end of the day, that's a whole nother story, and we'll probably get into that. But who I want to talk about anyway. Firstly, I just want to give if we're talking about time travel, Back to the Future.
Yeah, classic.
Obviously,
obviously
the
first on
best.
Everyone's lips, near enough.
Obviously, the best time travel movie ever.
Although.
What, are you going to say Hot Tub Time Machine?
No. Hell no. No,
actually,
not even number 2.
It's not even a bad film.
It's not a bad film. There's better ones out there.
I'm going to hold that up, mate. Hot Tub Time Machine.
I don't know.
It's not as bad as people think.
There was one I seen years ago. I cannot remember when I was young, where it basically turned out that there was like an alien ship that crashed, so the army got in, took him, and somehow this couple got involved in it.
Right.
And then by the end, it worked out that it was them in the future.
Right, I don't think I've seen that.
I cannot remember the name. I think I've seen it twice in my life.
I do like time travel movies, to be honest, though. Butterfly
Effect. It was a bit of a B movie,
one,
but the storyline to it I thought was actually pretty good.
Well,
constantly asking questions about time travel. I think that's a good comedy movie for time travel. I just said it.
Constantly asking questions.
Questions.
That's another one I've not
you seen it?
No, honestly, you have to send me a link to that so I can check out the trailer.
Yeah, really
well,
good.
The guy I want to talk about today, he's a bit of an odd one because he doesn't just claim to be a time traveller. He claims to. He's got multiple claims. Do you know
multiple
what?
claims?
Did you just say? Is he claiming to be a Martian?
Yeah.
Yes, he's claiming to be a Martian.
You're joking.
Well,
he's got 2 hearts or something. He's got 3.
Right, I'm going to give you the breakdown of his claims now.
Go for it.
So, today we're going to be talking about Andrew D. Basiago, or Basiago.
Where's he
It depends where you want to, how you want to pronounce it, I think. Well, I'm assuming Washington in the US. Right, because
just because of the
it's a bit of an odd name, isn't it? I don't know what his lineage is, but I think he's American. I think as most Americans, they've got kind of like
there's a lot of different
kind of like ethnicities and stuff moving into the continent, weren't they? Really at that time, so it's a big melting pot, isn't it? Well, Andrew D. Basiago is a Vancouver, Washington lawyer. And he's known for running the Project Pegasus program, and as it's known today, Project Pegasus.
Is that like Ultra?
Well, it's linked, and we'll get into that in a second because the Project Pegasus, as it's known today, is a group dedicated to lobbying the government to release the secrets of teleportation and time travel for the benefits of all mankind.
Yeah, that's sort of what's
Andrew
Stephen.
Oh, what's his name from Blink-182?
No.
We don't like him. What's he? I can't remember his name. He's
Greer, is it?
Oh, Stephen Greer.
Yeah. So he believes it's all.
Well, Andrew Basiago claims to have not only know about this technology. He claims that the US government and CIA have been keeping it a secret since the 1960s, and he.
Probably even further with Tesla.
And he thinks, well, Tesla again, big part of it.
Yeah.
So he
369 number.
You mentioned him being like a Martian.
Yeah.
Well, he does actually claim that he was the guy who discovered life on Mars.
Oh man.
I mean, was he the first guy to buy the
Has he got proof of
the David Bowie record? Do you reckon?
Oh,
I was just like, you can't go making these wild accusations.
Yeah, you've got to have at least a certain amount of evidence.
Right. So he was basically as a child he was a participant in the Darpa experiments. Now you mentioned MK Ultra.
Yeah.
Well, the Darpa experiments were kind of like on par with those. I think while the Manhattan Project was going on and stuff like that, and all the scientists had been kind of shifted around to try and make best of their abilities.
And it happened after Project Paperclip. After the Germans
the Project Paperclips happened. All the Germans come over, and all these scientists are being kind of utilised in many different ways. And the DARPA program experimented on time travel and teleportation in the late 60s and early 70s. You were right. The technology used was basically invented by Nikola Tesla.
Yeah.
But when people think about it, basically, they kind of think about the lightning ball, the lightning ball electricity stuff that kind of Tesla invented. Well, apparently, he actually had a secret discovery that he kind of kept to himself.
Is it the 369?
What would
combination? Well, he stated basically, if you can work out the 369.
Right.
That you'll get the answer to everything in the world.
Right. No, I didn't know that. I mean, I want to watch a couple more documentaries on Tesla because I mean, every time I watch something, it's like they'll talk about one thing. It's like I watched something the other week and I was like hoping that it'd give me a bit more of a broader horizon on Tesla, and it ended up just being about his death ray, and it was like, okay, and it was good. Don't get me wrong. Check it out. It was a pretty good documentary if you like that.
The government ended up breaking.
Well, do you know what those towers? Right. Well, basically, he was trying to get renewable free energy for everybody by using like I think it was the magnetic poles to kind of create this energy. And I'm not sure if this is the same energy he was using here because he what he found was like a radiant energy, what he called radiant energy. Not like I say, it wasn't the ball lightning.
I mean, like static energy.
Well, I'm not sure how it looks or anything like that, but basically how he describes it is radiant energy, and he says basically from very little input, like of power, you can create a really quite a strong.
Yeah, because there's people at the moment trying to make and actually succeeding and making things like hover with literally.
Yeah,
You've got different.
I think if you wanted to try and do that now, I mean, in terms of like putting little power in, you'd need like shitloads of transformers. I think people have been. Do you know what? I've seen so many people being arrested like for ordering these huge transformers on like the fucking FBI show up at the door going, what are you doing with all this? And I think most of them. And do you know what? This is just from time travel research because like looking into time travel stuff. I always find people who were trying to make their own time machines, and what few of them are found on coast to coast. I think there was one guy who kind of put himself in a tunnel, like a time tunnel he'd invented, and he was never seen again. But they don't know if he was just evaporated or what. If he just killed him.
If he's out there, can you
he disappeared. He disappeared, and I don't think he ever turned back up. But
but
basically,
he might turn up in the future.
So how Tesla's radiant energy worked was it basically opened a vortal tunnel. Like a exactly like a wormhole. So basically, this tunnel would kind of open up. But the weird thing about it was that they kind of took on children to kind of use this technology and train up to be kind of like.
They're more powerful than an adult, as in their cells are young and their cells will like.
I think what it is as well was they were
deal
more.
With all the pressure.
Well, again, they wanted to know if they could deal with the pressure of kind of time travel and teleportation, but they also wanted to know, if all these dignitaries and kind of high ups are going to be using the technology, that it's going to be safe for their kids and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But another reason was on a psychological level. If a grown man went in and seen a guy with a gun in a holster, he might act, or he's got a weapon, or he's got whatever. Whereas a child has got a bit of a broader outlook on life, where they might say
you can
he's actually got a medical device in a holster or something. Yeah. That was something that I actually I heard him say in an interview, and I thought, I don't understand why you're going to take on children to do these things, but again, in Project MK Ultra and stuff, it's experimentation on all the.
You can control. Got more
but
control.
He does say, Andrew Basiago does say that the using this Vortal tunnel wormhole, he was able to jump from the facility in Woodridge, New Jersey, and in seconds arrive in Los Alamos. And he was only in the first grade at that point, because
a lot of stories about Los Alamos.
How he says he got into the program was his father actually worked on the program.
Oh, right.
And he was a sibling. He had like brothers and sisters, but his dad never brought any of those in. You know, it was something that he did with his father, and his father had brought him in. And Andrew Basiago seems to think that it might be a reason because his dad had travelled to the future and realised how kind of important he was to the project, and that he was the one who was going to remember it all and write the books and put the videos out and whistleblow it, basically. So he always felt like he was, in it for a reason. And overall, I think there was like 140 kids who were tested upon. It wasn't just him. So, you know...
And you're alive today, do you know?
Well, there is actually people, if you can find interviews with him, and he basically does talk about, he does talk to people who corroborate a lot of what he's saying. Yeah. But then they kind of go, ooh, you kind of remember it. But he says that there's blocks that they put on him, and it was only when he got to 35, 36, when his brain kind of, the chemical balance changed, that he started to think, oh, I kind of remember things from my childhood, but then it was like, I remember things from my childhood, but they've always got this rose-tinted thing on them. You know, they're never always exactly how it happened. Am I wrong? So
no.
It was kind of a bit of a weird one. So back to the claims. Basically, he claims to have travelled 1 million years into the past and was present at the Lincoln Gettysburg Address.
Oh my days. Have you got any evidence there?
Well, yeah, again, he has actually.
See.
There's actually a photo that was on the cover of Life magazine, right? And he reckons that he was watching... he was kind of he'd done all this. He'd been part of the programme for ages. And, he was... he could never tell anybody. But his dad had chose the Lincoln Gettysburg Address for him to go and visit as part of one. Deliberately, yeah. Because basically he said to him on a previous visit, where do you want to go? And he said he didn't know, right? So then later on,
he's a kid, isn't he?
His dad had chose the Gettysburg Address for him and said, go here. So he arrived and he was wearing period clothing, but he had no shoes on. And basically, a cobbler on the street had basically said, here you go, little lad, we'll get some shoes on your feet.
Yeah. Don't you find that a lot, though, in stories on on time travelling, that the lack of clothes below, on your feet, especially on your feet, but the amount of...
Well, is it because footwear is so sort of prominent for a time period that you'd be giving yourself away if you were to kind of be seen in the wrong footwear?
Well,
it looks like you got them off, but they're Chinese.
But
what does that say, Nikkei?
There's films and stuff of that woman who walked past a shop with the mobile. And the guy who sat with the glasses. And
I did a degree in photography, and I can analyse photos quite well. I like to think, and I don't buy any of those photos. I don't buy any of that video, anything like that. I mean, you've got to think that there was hearing aids. There's one where there's a woman walking past with her hand up near her ear, and it looks like she's holding a device. The woman might just have toothache. You know, she's walking with a hand on her face. Dental hygiene back in those days wasn't very good. She's walking there, she's got a hand on her face going, oh, my face hurts.
Yeah, that's
and
what
then someone
I kinda
snaps a
think.
picture, and then years later, you know, they go, oh no, she's got an iPhone.
Yeah,
I'm
I mean,
not
we could do
convinced.
stuff today.
I've got one here. I've got
future.
a print here, and it's not even a print. It's a glass plate, and it's a one of a kind glass plate taken in France from like I don't know when, quite a long time ago. And the guy in the picture looks like he's got a device in his hand. It could be a radio or anything. You know, people just kind of dive on stuff too quickly.
Yeah.
So.
Well, have you heard about Captain Randy Kramer?
Randy Kramer, no.
Yeah. Well, he's come out with on MUFON. There's a MUFON report which is basically a little bit on that on what you've just been saying, because he stated that he was he went to bed, and as soon as his mum closed the door opened up and there was light there. A man come out of there, told him to come with him. And then, supposedly, he'd gone up to space.
Right.
Yeah. Now, it seems that when I've seen the stories on it, and it is a bit out there, but it can be, there could be questions answered through it as well.
Well,
but he basically stated he went to the moon.
That could be. Oh well, yeah. I mean, this is it. This is what Basiago is basically saying. This is what he's saying. I mean, his claims get wilder. I mean, like I say. So I mean, the Gettysburg Address thing. It was like it. So the story goes that his dad had chosen for him to go to the Gettysburg, and when he arrived there, he was in period clothes, like I say, but he had no shoes on.
Yeah.
A cobbler's giving him shoes, and he's walked into the square, and he can see the stage and he can see where Lincoln's going to come out,
right.
But he's kind of hovering around, you know, he doesn't really want to get too deep into it, and he bumps into his dad, and his dad's there, and he goes, hiya dad, and his dad goes, I'm not your dad, little boy, and he hurries him away, right? So he kind of thinks, I'll ask my dad about that later. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right? Basically, it was his father from an earlier time, knowing that he was going to be there.
Yeah.
He chose that particular time for Andrew to go to.
Yeah.
Because he knew that he'd already met him there that day when he said that came up to him. He'd seen his son. A few
then
years.
It could have been
No.
There.
He'd known his son. He's seen his son come. His father's gone to Gettysburg. His son's approached him, a few years older than he knows him.
Yeah.
And said, "Hiya, Dad." Yeah. Now his first reaction is, "You're not my son," and hushed him away.
Yeah.
Right. He's then come back in time, back to the Darpa facility.
Yeah, and
he's then known that he's gonna, in a few years, take his boy to the Gettysburg Address.
Yeah.
Where he's gonna meet him. Do you know what I mean? It's like a loop. Yeah, it's a
could
time
there be
loop.
a possibility though that at that
he claims
instance,
he had loads of these time loops.
Well, at that instance, could he have put that there in that position because some other kind of incident happened?
I mean, you don't know the reasons, and I mean, like he says he had a lot of missions, and one of them was to try and actually save Lincoln from being assassinated, and he tried several times. He tried several times, and even seen himself in the theatre, right, and had to avoid himself. So I mean, the guys say, you know, he's got quite a lot of different. Says experience in this field, so
that could move into the Mandela effect.
That is a totally different. That's a whole day.
Could be where all the problems and all the changes have happened, where people have noticed.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If anyone's gone back and don't change things, then we all know. Like I say, I mentioned the butterfly effect earlier, and that's a prime example, isn't it?
You're going to notice it more and more.
So he's basically come back from Gettysburg, and a few years later, his sister's reading a copy of Life magazine.
Yeah.
And on the front cover of Life magazine is a photo.
Yeah.
And Andrew goes, "That's me. That's me on the front cover of and he can't tell anyone.
Yeah.
Because he
He saw his sister there and then.
Well, he couldn't tell his sister. He basically found the magazine, shown his dad, and said, "Is that me on the cover of Life magazine?" His dad said, "Yeah." Right.
Yeah, but his dad could have just said that, you know, to right, bugger off, kid, you know.
Well, you've got to remember this kid's being groomed to be a chrononaut, which is the government official term of time traveller, and that's chrononaut, not time traveller. So time traveller.
Yeah, but
all day.
Sure it's like Ultra.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like, how do you know they've not just fucked his head up to make him believe all this
that,
stuff?
Because the story's
like
on
Justin
that
Bieber. Yeah, totally. Well, again, his claims go on, mate. There's not even just like this is wild in itself. I mean, not Ghostsex wild, but it's.
Oh yeah.
But
we don't want haunting there now, do you?
Right, so like I say, he claims to have travelled to the year 1 million years into the past. Now, my problem with that is, if you've got a time machine, right, and you invent a time machine, or say today I've invented a time machine 2018, right, and the theory of time travel is if I was to go forward in time, that's great because the time machine's already been invented, right? The time machine got invented in 2018 by me, right? So then I go any further. I can't. That's limited me. I can't go any further than when the invention of the time machine was invented, because especially the way that they describe the time machine. And I'll get into that in a second, because like I say, they're using wormholes, and they do say he kind of changes his method later on, and he says he basically uses a different method of time travel, and we'll get into, but you can't travel any further back than the invention of the time wormhole, because it wasn't there for you to return. So that just means that you've got to wait around for however many years until the invention of it, and then go forward. It's a load of bollocks and a load of ball ache. Well, it could have. It's just come from me. Now with that, I don't know about Einstein, but I know what I say, and that's me. So So how his time travel works, like I say, he's turning negative energy into a vortal tunnel. He says like the using kids was like for the mental and the physical effects to try and find out what they were, and basically after a while of using these vortal tunnels, they found that it wasn't, like I say, effective in terms of like how far they could travel and stuff like that. So they'd come across another device called Chrono-visor. Chrono-visor. It sounds really 60s, doesn't it? It sounds like something like Technicolor, or like
sounds like someone's just gone on a notepad and just went.
Chrono. That'll work.
That'll.
I like it. Chrono-visor. Now in Chrono-visor. Is that like smell-o-vision? I don't know. It sounds good anyway. Well, Chrono-visor gave them the ability to not only travel in what they'd call in like proton caches or proton arrays, and how it would project the future or project the past. Using
so you don't actually go there. You only actually.
No. This is it. There was two methods. You could actually watch it on a monitor, watch the birth of Jesus or whatever on the monitor.
Not the Da Vinci Code.
What the Vatican have got. They reckon that this invention has been passed over to the Vatican and they own it now.
Like Deja Vu.
I've never seen it.
You've never seen it?
No, I've never Deja Vu.
Okay.
I've had it, but basically, this Chrono-visor is a property of the Vatican at the moment. But basically, what they say is how it works is you can watch it on a screen or in a kind of a particle array. The children could actually step into the projection and find themselves in the past, wormhole styley.
Yeah.
So in that way, he claims he's been 1 million years into the past, and I don't see how. But like, he also claims to have visited.
He could have killed us doing that.
What year were we in? 2018. So and the furthest he's travelled into the future was 2045, and he says he claimed to. Well, he says he's been there a number of times. So
and what's
allegedly.
What's going on?
Well, he's basically said he was the president.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm just going Air Force One and then.
Now this is the thing about him is because I think he's got this sort of like grandeur problem where he thinks he kind of like is really special or something. But I mean, I don't know.
Well, he is an alien, isn't he?
Well, I've no idea. He says kidnapped by. Who was he? He never said he was kidnapped by anyone, really, did he?
He thought he was one, wasn't
No,
he?
well, obviously he was part of this project.
But who's to say that ain't true?
So, what he said, I mean, in terms of what he's saying, it's like, here's another one.
It's got gaps, that's my problem.
There is gaps, but he tries to fill them in, and how he fills it in, it gets more elaborate. So, it's like, apparently he's kind of gone to his family and tried, after his father died, like, the only other person who could fully corroborate his thing, and on his deathbed, his father had turned around and said, no, because his mum, right, on his deathbed, his father had turned around and said, right, I want you to tell everybody, right? Yeah. So nobody knew up until that point, right? He then turned around to his mum and said, you knew all along, didn't you, what we were doing? And she kind of went, ooh, nod and a wink. I think, and he was happy with that. But when he kind of tried to tell his siblings, he had two that kind of listened to Coast to Coast who were a bit kind of left field, and like they kind of accepted it or believed it to, based on things they'd seen in the past, believed it. And then there was two that didn't, and there was kind of like friction in the family. If one of your brothers or sisters turns around and says, oh yeah, I'm a time traveller. Me and Dad used to pop into the past every now and again.
Oh, let's prove it.
I think they did have me committed, to be honest.
Next week's lottery numbers.
Well,
I'll be happy then.
If that wasn't enough...
Yeah, well, why didn't he?
Why didn't he what?
Yeah, if he could go in the future, right, he's going to take steps by steps.
Like I say, he had grandeur, he had delusions of grandeur. I mean, he thinks that, he's gone into the future, he's seen that he was the president, right? He thinks that he was chosen for a reason. He was chosen as a child because these Darpa people had gone into the future, seen that he was going to be an influential person,
so
brought him up, gone back, found him as a child, and then influenced him young, right? So he says he didn't. It wasn't just him. He said he worked with a lot of other people who were on the project. They say, like I say, they say 140 kids were used, and a couple of them were pretty well known.
Right.
So.
Well, if he's got evidence, I mean, you can't. I mean, persons everything, but you need some concrete. Have you ever thought of taking some?
Well, what do you mean, like a bit of Mars, a bit of Moon?
Gettysburg, get there.
Oh yeah, well that was.
I see a pistol on the floor there. That's going to be worth $500,000.
Actually, I think somebody did ask him a question like this, and I think what his response was it was bringing objects back was an issue, whereas I think in terms of the John Titor story, it's kind of like that
disease and all that back, as well as him going to 1,000,000 years. Yeah. He's taking a hard risk of knocking out the future.
Well, already what he said is basically he's travelled to 2045 and he's seen his timeline and he's the president at a certain point. He said basically in 2008 that he was going to win the 2016 election, which he wasn't even able to run, and he wasn't able to run because basically the costs for getting on the ballot were like $3 to $5 million, and he just didn't have the dough. So he's basically spent the last kind of few years trying to campaign to get this money together and try and get on the next campaign trail, I suppose.
Did he do it?
Well, no, he's still going. He wants to be on it, man. If you Google him, Andrew Basiago or Basiago or Bishugu. Andrew Basiago, right? You'll be able to find his campaign website and stuff like that.
I'm not
now, do you want to hear his boldest claim yet?
Got the biggest bold.
I mean, right, the guy's got claims. This man's got claims, man. He's got claims so deep that I can't even fathom how deep these claims go. Yeah.
Go deep into time.
Mate, this guy, right. So he also claims that he's teleported to Mars. Mars, bro.
See, now Captain Randy, he did the same apparently.
Captain Randy?
Yeah.
Is that the guy you just brought up then?
Yeah.
I
Apparently,
need to skin up again.
because when he went to the moon to get.
Wait
trained
a
up-
minute, he's called Captain Randy.
Is it Randy? I think I said Randy.
I'd love
Randall.
that.
It might be Randall.
Yeah, I know, but if I was Captain Randall anything, I'd want to be known as Captain Randy.
Randy.
Yeah, definitely. Captain Randy Creamer.
Yeah.
Yes, that's a sexy
Yeah,
name.
man. Well, his
Right.
story says that he went for training and
well,
then
like
he
you
went
say,
on the Mars.
Again, 140 kids involved.
Did he touch the rover?
He could have
That's
been.
on Mars?
No, this was pre-rover. This was 1970.
Oh, well, this
Well,
is
no, actually, this was
including the rover.
1980s. So he'd spent all that time in the 60s and 70s in the Darpa
Stoned out,
project,
he's fucking nuts.
flitting here, there, and everywhere. Probably getting electric shock therapy and stuff.
Yeah.
You know.
Still lots going
Well,
on.
he claims he teleported to Mars and he was responsible for finding life up there in the 1980s, along with several
was it an alien?
other children or chrononauts. William B. Stilling was one of them, which is just some guy who they kind of came out with. Says he was a project on the project as well. And obviously Andrew definitely remembers him. And they also claim that in their dorm on Mars was a man called Barry. I can't ever pronounce his name. Barry Soltaro. Is that
Soltaro?
How's he?
Sultana, I think. Is it Sultana? Where is it?
Sotero. Barry Sotero. Yeah. AKA Barack Obama. Yeah. And basically this is a fact. I mean, I'm not saying it's a fact that Obama was a guy who was on Mars, but it was a fact that in the 80s he did actually go by that name. And there's a lot of controversy into where he actually comes from. People say he's from Hawaii,
A sheriff got the duty to do it, and he come out 5 years afterwards, and he stated he's from Kenya.
Yeah, they did a documentary where they flew out and found his actual biological brother. Yeah, and he living in a tribe. You know what I mean? There was
he's
so
a
much.
corrupt fucker like that Hillary Clinton. You know what I mean? He's one of them who's going to go to this military.
I'm strongly believe that most of these people have got the same agenda. So no matter who you vote for, they're all up to it. They're all up to something.
Obviously, they're all up to it.
But let's not get into political too much just right now. That's for another day.
I can't wait for that one. I'm going to spit
that'll be
feathers.
episode 500.
Yeah,
Look forward to that.
Hopefully, she's in jail.
So yeah,
sorry.
He's just scared my pussy. Yeah. My cat's just gone flying across the room. Right, so Obama again. So he basically claims to have met Obama on Mars, and secretly he was part of this program. So basically, like when I said earlier about him having these delusions of grandeur and how he was, he was sought out because he was known to be an influential person. And he claims that this is why Barack Obama was also on the program. He claims there's loads of other people. He said there's a couple of like secretaries and stuff like that. Again, but so nobody will come forward, and he's like has to be the whistleblower. And so yeah.
Well, we all know what happens to whistleblowers now, don't we?
Snitches get stitches. So. Yeah, so basically, he's determined to be the president, though, and he reckons, like I say, he's going to be definitely running in 2016.
Well, he can solve his money problems by getting a lottery ticket, couldn't he, and go back in time and go, boom, right.
Do you know what? You've just hit the nail on.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then again, that's
we
too
could end up
obvious.
with a Biff Tannen situation where, like, where Biff's corrupt and he's married to your mum.
When they're, the storyline of, the book. Apparently that couldn't happen. Yeah, it couldn't happen.
Why? Oh, yeah. Why is that?
Yeah, I can't remember. I have to look it up again.
Do you know what?
For some reason,
don't even go there because there's so many kind of like loads of little things about Back to the Future.
And I love Barack. He might know.
Barack.
Yeah, he'll tell us what's what.
Do you know what? In fact, do you know what? There was a thing where when he stepped down, and Andrew Basiago basically says that he's admitted it in so many words. So you can kind of find those interviews. I want to try and find some bits and put them in the links and descriptions anyway, so people can kind of so they don't have to search for stuff. But
do search as well. Like check this stuff out yourself.
We're advocates of learning, so if you want, learn off your own back. You need to teach yourself to learn. and then go out there and find that information.
Fuck all, man.
And I don't mean to be a dick when I say that, but you know, it's just basically.
Tell you what, most stuff I've learned in school has been absolutely bull.
Well, yeah, but that's what I think. Teachers don't teach kids how to go out and find
a set route.
No, well, you've got the syllabus or whatever, you know, and then but in terms of like pushing kids in directions they actually want to go in, it's like they don't. Your kids are bored with the education system, and it totally needs a reform.
Yeah,
I'm not the one to do it, but you know, it's like if we're going to end up fucking basically just sending all our kids to co-op academies and stuff, or fucking Morrison's Academy. I don't know what these places are, but soon we'll be getting like academies that are sponsored by fucking, I don't know, Burger King, the Burger King Academy. Yeah, we don't need. We don't want that.
That wouldn't surprise me at all. In one, iota.
Yeah, iota.
That's I remember him that.
Well, to be fair, man, I think that was a pretty decent second show. And
well, leave us comments and tell us what you think or what you want a subject of.
Yeah. So
I mean, we've got loads coming, but
totally. But I mean, if there's anything in particular that you might find interesting or anything like that. But like, just to round off this Andrew Basiago thing, just check him out because he's like, you know, I'll give you a bit of a gist there, but there was just some of his claims in a bit in depth. But you know, if you look into him, and there's plenty of documentaries on YouTube. It is quite. And there are
other places to look at it, not just YouTube.
Oh yeah, well, you know,
I don't think I've got
other video streaming service providers are available.
Yeah, loads more. Yeah, they need your sponsorship.
And we need their sponsorship. We need your help. Actually, we don't need your money, but like we do need like, you know, support and like in terms of like getting the word out there on the Never a Straight Answer podcast. So
really appreciate it.
So yeah, and like Taylor said, if you want to contact us, you can always contact us via the app on Anchor. You can email us at neverstraightanswer@gmail.com. Sorry, not .co.uk. And on Twitter at answer_never. That's a bit wordy.
Yeah.
I know. I need to get some vanity plates for these URLs. I'm not even joking. You can also follow me on Instagram at Gaz Duncan and on Twitter at Gaz Duncan, and you can follow Taylor on nothing because he doesn't use social media. He was telling me about this new one called Facebook earlier. I was like, I'll get that.
Have you heard of it? Yeah, apparently it's a bag of shit. Apparently. It's good in one reason.
Do you know what?
It's controlling.
One thing that's really making me laugh at the moment is because like I think loads of people keep disabling their accounts and just going, do you know what? I'm fucking over Twitter. But I'm sorry about my language today as well. But
I didn't swear once.
Well, we've got.
I might have done it 5 times.
I do put in the thingy. I do actually put in the description contains explicit language, so I'm covered.
Mainly you're putting my isn't it?
True that.
You nasty man. You need to clean it out myself.
Yeah.
When I swallowed it and asked for the second half.
Oh,
cheeky little shit.
Cheeky. So yeah, basically, what was it? What was I saying? You made me lose track now. I was saying about the emails.
Email address and
you can follow us. How you can contact us. Yeah, I think that's basically it, innit?
Yeah. Been a good show, man.
Yeah. Well, brilliant. Well, thanks for.
We'll have to try and get some more guests in.
Yeah. Well, I think we actually have got a few people who want to join. And come over.
Yeah.
So I think we've got a couple of well, not say guests. I think we're going to be trying. I think there's going to be a few more regular people joining in.
Yeah.
And then
they've got their own opinions.
They've got their own opinions.
We've got a bit more of a chin wag, so there's other views just apart from ours, because obviously we can't speak to you lot face to face as.
But basically, on a couple of the upcoming things, we're thinking of getting like some guests potentially.
Yeah.
People who actually know what they're talking about. To be fair.
Yeah. Because these are our what we've searched, what we find.
This is just it's what we find interesting, isn't it? And I think the the
But
internet.
it can always change because of what we know now, and then someone brings out a little information, and you can just go, you know what, that is it. And you know what, I've been wrong. all
I'm
that
still
time.
waiting for somebody to prove this flat Earth to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit flat on its back, isn't it, really?
Well,
maybe on the back of a turtle.
come up with a fucking reasonable argument. No, actually, you can't. I don't want an argument with a flat earther because you cannot win it.
Yeah,
you
that's
just
true.
cannot win it.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
want to.
true.
I don't want to fight a
Keep-
flat earther.
That's one opinion I want you to keep to yourself.
Yeah,
Thank you.
right. And on that note, before I start getting loads of emails,
Yeah.
we're gonna call it a night. So
Yeah.
thanks for tuning into the Never Straight Answer podcast.
Yeah.
I've been Gaz,
I've been Taylor.
and we'll catch you on for the next one.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Take it easy.
Buddy bye.
Peace.
The podcast you just heard was published with Anchor. Got something you want to say to the creator of this show? Send them a voice message using the Anchor app, free for iOS and Android.